Oh,
Hi, Craig. Great. I'm very pleased to speak with you because
that's,
I follow you on Facebook since a long time,
yes,
and it's really a pleasure to speak with you tonight.
it's my pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Mhm. So, Craig, can you tell us about yourself?
My name is Craig James Baxter. I go by the pseudonym of CJB, which is ironically my initials. And I've been learning and teaching about body language here in the United Kingdom for about 10 years. I'm an author of two books on non-verbal communication, which I'll come to later. I also co-host allaboutbodylanguage.com, which is a website dedicated to all things body language and non-verbal. On the website, I've been blessed to interview 25 the leading world's leading non-verbal experts, ranging from people like Dr. David Matsumoto, Joe Navarro, and Dr. Paul Ekman, Dr. Desmond Morris. So the real heavyweights of the non-verbal world, and they can all be found on my website as well. As a personal note, as well as the books, I'm also big on YouTube as well. I've compiled over 100 videos about body language and behavioral science and spotting, lying, and deception in politicians, musicians, sports stars, and they've amassed, I think it's 1,200,000 hits or something crazy like that. So I do a bit of work on YouTube as well. I write articles here in the UK for different magazines, and yeah, I'm a busy bee. It's a thoroughly interesting subject, and I'm always learning, and I love educating people about the benefits of nonverbal communication.
Yeah, that's great. So, how did you become? Because I follow you on your Facebook page,
Yes.
and you have great materials in it. So, I was just wondering, how did you become an expert of body language?
Again, it was just all training. My main background is actually the human body.
Hmm.
So, amazingly enough, it wasn't a psychology based platform for me to move into body language. It was more about the human body and how it works. Because my current job is I work in the medical profession, and I have patients who I see on a daily basis to get them introduced to exercise and lifestyle changes. So, my actual training is in the heart, brain, the working muscles, the skeletal system. And I've just adapted my skills of the actual human body and its movements into observing what these particular movements mean. I mean, it was obviously starting out with the very basics like arm fold and defensive behavior, and then as my career has progressed and so has my knowledge has blossomed in nonverbal communication, you get to learn more advanced things about physiological change in the body, like increased heart rate and pupil dilation and micro expressions, and you start to become more advanced. But my actual application of body language actually came when I used to work in the health profession. And that's how I've just tailored my skills. So it's quite a refreshing approach to studying human behavior, because a lot of people have gone down the psychology route, whereas I didn't start out down that route. Mine's all human body and its movements. So that's how I became. I wouldn't class myself as an expert. Far from.
Yeah,
I would
for a lot of
certainly say
people,
I'm
you're an
experienced.
expert,
Yeah,
sure.
I'd certainly say I'm experienced in the field of body language, but I would definitely not class myself as an expert. Not even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of readers of my blog are studying health or medical. They are in medical field or the profession is health related. So I
Yes.
think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, it's a question I want to ask you because this field is quite new, body
Mhm.
language, and I was wondering how did you discover this field?
Well, actually, it was when I left school in 1999. I
Hmm.
enrolled at a local college to do I think it was a business studies course, and I met a lady on the course who was deaf, and I'd never met someone who was deaf before. And watching her communicate with a support worker and the course tutor was fascinating, because I wanted to know what all these hand and finger gestures meant, and I was more concerned about why I didn't know what they meant, because I was under the impression that body language didn't really mean anything. It was like a almost like a pseudoscience, and those hand gestures didn't mean anything. But I think it was her actions and expressions and body language that encapsulated my interest, and I wanted to learn more. But the thing is, at the time in 1999, the internet was still in its infancy, really, so there wasn't access for me to just like Google a question that hadn't arrived yet. Um, So I think it was that sparked my curiosity, and then as the years progressed, I always had an interest in body language, but not from a really scientific point of view. I was aware that there was, I knew what the arm fold meant, and when people cross their legs and stuff like that. And I think we all know the basics, but I
Hmm.
wanted to learn more. And that's when I started to read the works of like Desmond Morris and Dr. Paul Ekman, and then to start understanding the face and its actions, and that's initially how I started it. So you're talking well over 10 years ago when I initially sparked my curiosity, and I think about 8 or 9 years later, I actually did a course in sign language. So I wanted to actually learn and understand what those intricate signals mean with the body language and the sign language, and I did a course in it. But sadly, it's amazing what you forget. I mean, it's now 2013. I think I did that sign language course about 4 or 5 years ago, and to be honest with you, I think I've forgotten most of the intricate hand gestures because I don't use them because I don't know anybody who is deaf, so I can't communicate with somebody who is deaf because I don't know anybody, which is a real shame, really. But that's how I initially started out in this profession. It was meeting, I think her name was Katie, and then that just initially sparked my curiosity, and then here I am now, and it was all relevant. It was quite significant part of my life meeting that girl, because if I didn't, if I had never met her, I might not have gone into this profession, and I might be doing something else. So
Yeah, it would be a shame we couldn't read you on your Facebook page and your website. Your website is all about body language. So you just told us a bit about what you are doing in this website, but just can
yeah.
you tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the allaboutbodylanguage.com,
Yeah.
it fits into a portfolio of four other websites, and as well as allaboutbodylanguage.com, there's All About Psychology, All About Forensic Psychology, and All About Forensic Science. So there is four
Okay.
websites attributed to all things, psychology and nonverbal and forensic wise. And I think the website's been going about a year now, and on the website you can have access to all of my articles that I've put together on flirting and dating, and how to increase your levels of tips, and some of my observations. And also on the website, like I mentioned before, we've had the real privilege of interviewing 25 of the world's leading experts in body language. And quite recently, I think within the last couple of months, I interviewed Dr. Desmond Morris, which was, again, a real honor and a real privilege for me, because it was his work that, again, encapsulated my interest. I think it was the sign language that sparked the curiosity, but it was Desmond Morris's books that really wanted me to commit to this profession, because I was so fascinated by his work. But yeah, so he features on the page as well. Quite a lot of my video analyses are on there as well. So yes, if you get a chance, make sure you check it out. It's very popular, and we update it every month with all new information and things like that. But yeah, like I said, it fits into a portfolio of other websites that are dedicated to all things psychology. So if you're interested in like CSI or
Mhm.
those kind of programs, yeah, my business partner who runs the websites with me has got all about forensic science and all about forensic psychology. So if you're interested in like criminal profiling and CSI and things like that, then these are the websites you want to go on, because
Yeah, sure, great. I will put some links in the interview, Craig. You can be sure the readers will get it. Um, so okay, so are you spreading also your knowledge in other ways? I mean, are you coaching some people? Are you giving seminars? Are you writing books?
Yes, well, I used to do seminars on body language.
Hmm.
I've not done any for a while now. They're quite time consuming, and I've obviously I work for a living as well with my day job, so my body
Yeah.
language session comes when I finish work and stuff. So, no, my main outlet is on the website and through the books as well. Last year, I finished a really popular book about Michael Jackson, believe it or not. I wrote a book about his body language when he was talking about those allegations of child abuse that sadly plagued the majority of his adult life. So I wrote a big book about that, and I cover 5 interviews. I think the Oprah Winfrey one, the Martin Bashir one, and a couple of police interviews as well. And I wrote a big book documenting his behaviour and what it meant.
Hmm.
So that came out in October last year, and it's just been unbelievable. The response I've had has been crazy. I mean, it went to number one in its category in 5 countries.
Great.
I mentioned in the New York Times. I mean, it's been featured in the press here in the UK. I have, I've contacted the Jackson family about it, and the Michael Jackson estate sent me an email back congratulating me.
Okay.
So it was a real honor, and that was my first book. But I wanted my first book to be something quite controversial because I was quite aware before I started a book that there's a lot of literature available on body language, and all I would be doing would just be adding to it.
Yeah.
I would be lost. You know what I mean? I would be lost in the sea of literature on behavioral science and that. So I thought the best way to do this is to focus on, a key celebrity, and Michael Jackson. I thought, everyone knows his music, but his private life was such a mystery to some people, and that was
Mhm.
the sticking point. And and my, I don't want to ruin the book for anyone who's not ready, but you'd be quite interested in my insights to Michael Jackson because his life was awash with myth and scandal and lewd accusation, and he was so much more than that. And my book documents that, and I think that's one of the reasons why it did so well.
Okay. So I was wondering why Michael Jackson. So now I have the reason.
Yeah.
Perhaps in your work or in your life, whatever. Do you have like a story to share with us? A story where your knowledge of body language was a great help for you or for someone
Yeah,
else. I don't know.
yeah, definitely. Well, it was certainly for me. It was when I met my missus many years
Mm-hmm.
ago. Meeting my good lady Kat, and yeah, we met out of the blue. Actually, it was quite a funny story. We both arrived in a place we weren't meant to be in, and we got texting and whatnot, and I asked her out for a drink at the local pub. And she obviously at this point she didn't know that I do body language and stuff, and I was working on a book and I have a website and all this jazz, and yeah, and I had to read her body language very subtly when we were on the date because I wanted to know how well it was going, and it was, flirting and dating is a really strong area for me. I thoroughly enjoy, observing couples going out on dates and stuff like that. So, but it
Mm-hmm.
was interesting because I had to modify my own behaviour to Cat, you see, because I consciously mirrored my own body language to Cat's to make sure, we had a good rapport together. But so that is a success story, you see, because if I hadn't have done that, she might not have been as well into me. You see, I made the gestures obvious to Kat that I was interested in. And I knew full well that Kat was interested in me within the first 3 or 4 minutes because her body language showed it. She was pointing her legs and arms to me. She was smiling a lot. She was increasing eye contact all the
Mm-hmm.
time with me. There was classic characteristics of subtle and obvious signs of body language, and then as the night progressed, we started to just touch each other on the shoulder occasionally, on the leg, and little signs like this are a good sign that she's welcoming me into her personal space. If the date was going quite poorly or badly, then there would have been none of that. There would have been no what's called
Sure.
tactilics, where we're starting to touch each other. Our legs would have been pointing, either to the door or away from each other. We wouldn't have been angling ourselves into each other. So that is where the body language comes in handy because if I didn't know these signs, I wouldn't know if she liked me or not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And thankfully, I'm quite, well practiced and well rehearsed in reading body language. So thankfully, it was going really well, and I made sure it continued. And hey ho, here we are now. We're very happy together, and we're planning the future. And yeah, so it's yeah, that's and plus Kat's a great body language reader now as well because I've educated her in I've not told her everything I know. She knows quite a lot, but there are a few little things I've kept from her, obviously for argument's sake. But yeah, I can't let her reveal everything. But no, she's great. Kat is a really good body language reader. She spots things that I miss occasionally. We go out for quite a few meals, me and my good lady. When we're sat in the restaurant, she'll just point over to me, going, "Oh, look what's over there," and look at that micro expression there, and it's fascinating. It opens a whole new world to you as well. But the good thing about the good thing about our relationship is it doesn't get bogged down with body language because that's one of the questions I get asked is with being so practiced and rehearsed in body language, does it affect your relationships and does it affect your friends? And to be honest with you, it doesn't. If anything, it makes it better because half the time they forget that I'm reading body language when I'm talking to somebody. But it's only when someone points it out, going, "Oh, I bet he knows what that means. I bet he knows what that means." That's when it gets awkward. But to be honest with you, most people forget and just go about their daily lives without thinking that I'm observing, which I
Mm-hmm.
seldom do. I only start observing people if there is a problem or if there is an issue present. And that's when it comes in handy. But no, it really strengthens your relationship body language, because I know when Kat's happy, sad, frustrated, angry, when she's had a bad day, she doesn't have to say a word. You can experience it through her gestures, expressions, her body language, and I think that is the positive aspects of body language, when you can read somebody's emotions without them having to say a word.
Yeah. So what you said was great because I see a lot of things in what you say, like the field of seduction. That's clear. Body language is of great help in
Yeah,
this field. But you said also you can decipher body language and also adapt yourself,
yeah,
adapt your body language. And I think it's the two big ways you can use body language to decode and use it for yourself. And decode, you can improve your relationships, so with cat or with your friends or with your colleagues, but you can also have like a positive impact with your own body language.
absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the areas that people forget. You see, they're also in tuned in reading others.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
forget that they can actually modify their own behavior. To make yourself appear more confident. And the great example I always give is the steepling gesture. Whenever you want to
Hmm.
appear confident in it, or you want to appear like you have all the answers, you know what I mean? Just, the steepling gesture is made by placing your fingertips together in almost like a church steeple-like gesture. And
Yeah.
automatically, when you're talking with that, it makes you feel more confident. And to the observer, it makes you look like you know what you're talking about. And again, you can coach yourself into using these gestures. I know Barack Obama and Tony Blair, the ex-prime minister here in the UK, he favoured the steepling gesture quite a lot, and a lot of people would remember him for being quite intelligent, and it's because of that little silent display, and it leaves a lasting impression in people's minds. And especially during job interviews, which I've not really talked about, my new book that came out a couple of weeks ago, which is
Yeah.
Unmasked. And in the book, I look at job interviews about how to excel, because I know in France there's quite a lot of problems in the economy. The economy all over the world. In the UK is really struggling at the moment, and the fight for job, opportunities. If you do get a job interview, you need to make sure you nail it, both in the CV but also through your behaviour, what you say and what you do. And in the book, in my new book, which is on paperback in the next couple of days, I show you how to make a good silent impression on the interview panel by using the occasional steepling gesture, and making yourself, as confident as possible by, a variety of different behavioural movements.
Yeah, so you share with us some advices, and you have a lot of advices in your book as well.
Mm.
I will put a link also. If you had one advice to share to my readers, what is your advice?
My advice is, if you want to learn more about body language, then concentrate on work from Dr. Desmond Morris,
Mhm.
and Dr. Paul Ekman and Joe Navarro, and also Dr. David Gibbons. Because there is a lot of myths and myth truths associated with body language. Quite a lot of the modern literature is littered with errors on non-verbal communication. One of the big errors that people fall into is the eye movements myth, where people think that the eye direction is linked to deception. I think the NLP
Yeah,
training
NLP.
say that up and right means deception. And during the research for my latest book, Unmasked, I did some research here in Lancashire, in the United Kingdom, and I asked people what they look for and what do you think are reliable indicators of deceit. And I'd certainly say well over 80% of the people I interviewed believe that eye movements are an indicative and a reliable sign of deception, which there's not. There is absolutely no truth in the theory that eye direction is linked to deception, and it's quite worryingly that the vast majority of the population believe it is true when in fact it is not. And if you concentrate on the work from Ekman, Morris, Navarro, Matsumoto, they show you the accurate ways to detect deceit and honesty, and they're a lot more reliable than some of the authors out there on body language. So that would be my number one tip. If you want to learn about real non-verbal communication, body language, then concentrate on Morris, Ekman, Matsumoto. If you like lying and deception, then Professor Albert Vrij is a
Mhm.
great author to concentrate on. His work is legendary. And that's what I will concentrate on. I mean, there is a lot of, I think, twaddle written about body language, and you want to concentrate on the right areas, because the last thing you want to do is read a myth and then start to believe it's true. You'll fall into what I call the Michael Jackson problem, is where people start lying all the time, and you'll read things that aren't true, but because it's printed everywhere, you'll think it is true.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Concerning NLP, I read something like Bandler, the father of NLP. He just said that this eye direction was not so true. Even Bandler said it. So,
Yeah, it's
uh,
not true at all. There is no evidence to suggest. And
yeah.
I think the University of Edinburgh last year put together a great article. And if you get the new book, there's a link to the article where you can
Okay.
read. There is no relationship exist between. And another eye behavior as well is that people often associate liars with looking away. And again, that isn't true. Liars are more inclined to give you greater eye contact because they want to see if you're believing their lies, and they also increase eye contact because they believe it's a sign of truthfulness when in fact it is not. And eye behavior is linked to so many more things other than deception. Like when we're embarrassed, we make less eye contacts, and when we're sexually aroused, we make more eye contact, and we give our bosses greater eye contact, and we give people who are beneath us less eye contact. So eye contact is a great communicator, but it's not related to deception.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for sharing all these great materials and advice. Um, just perhaps to finish this interview, Craig, I want to know what is your next project?
Well, I've just started my third book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've just started my third book. I promised my other half that I wasn't going to write another book this year because it takes so much time away
Oh,
from
yeah.
private life and my time with Kat. And we sometimes fall out now and again because it takes up a lot of time. When I get home from work, I'm writing, and she wants to spend some time together, which is. That makes a relationship work, you see. But my next book is all about. It's not really about body language. It's about human behavior and how it changes from when we are in our childhood, right through our primary school years, into our middle school. Then we go off to college, university, and then go into the world of work. It's about the different behavioral stages we go through, about how we mature, emotionally and physically and mentally, and it's about the different choices that we make in life and how it affects our long-term future, and how a lot of the things come from childhood. And there will be some body language things thrown in there as well, but it's more about human behavior, this one. And I'm about 9,000 words into it, and I'm hoping to have it all finished for June. So that's my next project, which again it'll be available on the Kindle. It'll be available on paperback like my other two books are. So that's the next step. But again, this is a lot of research, this one, because I'm moving into an area which I'm researching all the time, because this isn't an area which I've had much experience in. My background is in the human body, so
Mhm.
my two body language books were great because I know the body inside out. Whereas this one, I've yet to experience life past because I'm 30 this year, so the behaviour that happens, later on when I have children and things like that, I'm yet to experience firsthand. I think the reason why my body language books are quite involved is because I put my own personal slant on how I've used my own body language, to make my career. I'm more advanced in my career, and I think this is a different and difficult book to write. But I am looking forward to the challenge, and it'll be out hopefully, yeah, somewhere around June. I've not got a title for it yet. I always decide on the title when I finish the book. Otherwise, if I'd spend like 4 days trying to think of a title, and I wouldn't get it. So yeah, I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to my books. So yeah, so I'll send you the link when it's out, and then I'm going to take a bit of time off once I've got my third book out. I'm going to take a bit of time off, spend some time with Kat and my kittens, and then I will. I'm going to start another book hopefully, and get one out for around about the Christmas time for the Christmas market. And I mean, I really want to write a book about flirting and dating.
Mhm.
That would be an interesting one. But again, I'm very conscious of the fact that I'll be adding to an already saturated market. There must be 1,000 books written about behavioral science and body language, and I'm very conscious that I don't want to keep adding to literature that's always been published. That's why the Michael Jackson book was great, because no one had done that before. That was unique. Uh,
Mhm.
there was a real niche in the market for something like that. So I think my fourth book will have to be something, that nobody else has done. I know I get a lot of questions asked if I was going to cover people like Lance Armstrong. That would be a good book because he got away with the deceit for years. I've always said that I want to write 10 books by the time I'm 40. So I'm 30 this year. So I've got another seven to write in 10 years. So yeah,
you will make it. Sure, you will make it.
I'm sure, yes. Well, hopefully, yes. I've got to keep my other half happy as well. So I might do one book a year. That might keep her happy. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. I've got to keep the boss happy.
Yeah, sure. Wow, all these projects, it's very impressive, Craig, and yeah. So thank you for sharing all these great advices and materials. Thank you very much for sharing. Um, I think your way to see body language and the way you share to your readers, to my readers as well, it's very great.
It's been a pleasure, Roman. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing our interview with my followers. And
Okay,
yeah, it's been a
cool.
real pleasure. Yeah, if you need any help with anything at all, you give me a shout.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Bye.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.